This segment of the Bass Kayak and Beers podcast is supported in part by Douglas Outdoors, serious rods for serious anglers. Go to douglasoutdoors.com and check out their new lineup of Era rods that retail under $100. Norsk Lithium, the lithium battery that you need is just a click away. Go to norsklithium.com and check out some of the lightest lithium batteries in the market with the best warranty in the business. Mariner Sales, located in the heart of the DFW Metroplex, Mariner Sales has the largest inventory of kayak and kayak accessories in North Texas. You can also shop online at marinersales.com. What is going on, everyone? I hope you all having a great day. We were rushing to get here. Both me and my guest today, Rolando Nandin, were rushing to get to the podcast. Busy day today, and give me 1 second, folks, right here while I share this, because I barely got time. By the way, if you are watching, feel free to share this on Facebook or wherever you're watching. Does help out with the viewership. So anyways, today we're going to be talking or giving our predictions and kind of recapping what we know already from the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship at Lake Fork. I got Rolando Nandin, one of the best anglers here in Texas, to kind of give us his perspective. He's also very familiar with Lake Fork, so it's going to be a good show. We already had a few conversations about what we thought was going on and everything. So it was pretty good. So without further ado, I'm not going to do a long intro. Oh, well, I will say this before I bring in Rolando. If you are looking to get into tournaments here in Texas, Kayak Adventure Series, Paris Reel Fest is going to be this Sunday. In Paris, Texas. Is about 8 lakes included. It's kind of like a road runner event. I think 2 of those lakes are actually in Oklahoma. Paris, Texas is right at the border for Northeast Texas with Oklahoma. So if you haven't signed up, you live in Texas or you're coming down or you're here for the Classic Expo and you're going to be here on Sunday, past Sunday, go check it out, Kayak Adventure Series. Also, North Texas Kayak Championship is going to be running a tournament with same lakes and everything, just in conjunction with the Kayak Adventure Series. So you can sign up for both and double dip on those. We also got the Texas Bass Nation up in Caddo over the next weekend. It's going to be a 1-day event on Saturday, and East Texas Kayak Trail, I think East Texas tournament or East Texas Kayak Angler run by Lance McWhorter is also be running in conjunction. So if you ever want to fish Caddo, amazing lake, probably my favorite lake. That's going to be epic with the with the spring bite and possibly spawning. That's going to be a great tournament. So anyways, without further ado, let's bring in our guest for today, Rolando Nandin. Buddy, how are you doing, man?
Good, Armando. Thanks for having me on, man. Been a minute.
Yeah, I know. It's been crazy. I know. By the way, plug in your business because I know you and I kind of we work for the same clientele, right? You do mortgage loans or mortgage originator? Is that the word?
Yeah. I'm a mortgage originator, loan officer, and we're in the same industry, right? We cross. We need inspectors and appraisers and things like that, and so my understanding, you're in the inspection space, right? So,
yeah.
Yep. We cross paths. I see reports from those guys. So yeah, I've been doing it since 2000. Well, not the originator piece. I was a mortgage underwriter for 10 years, and then I transitioned to the sales. So that's what pays the bills and keeps me fishing, right? So buys my equipment.
Yeah, it's business is big enough. Like I'm being swamped with work the last couple of weeks. I know you've had too.
Yep.
I was kind of scared with how the economy was going and how it was last year. Not a lot of people buying houses, but finally it's getting back up.
Yeah, it's crazy. You get mixed reviews, right? From depending on what person you're talking to, but people people are going to need to move. They're always going to need a place to stay.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, like, in the history of rates are kind of tend to be a little bit high what we're used to, but they're not far off from historical data.
Yep.
So it is what it is.
It is, but good stuff, man. So
Yep.
you're not fishing I know you tried as much as you could to qualify for the Texas for the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship. I know previous years before you preferred more the TOC. I think this year you focused a little bit on the Bassmaster Kayak Series. How hard was it? I think did you ever went to Arkansas for that very last tournament that was available to qualify?
I'm trying to remember the tournaments that I fished because it wasn't very many. I think I took a shot at one of the tournaments. No, I didn't go to Arkansas. Is that what you mentioned?
Yeah, I think
No.
we had conversations about
Yes.
you and
Yeah, we took a shot. Gosh, I have to go back to my Turning X and look because right now my brain is so rattled by work more than fishing these days.
yeah.
And but I did take a shot to try to get into the Bassmasters, but I think it was only one tournament, and I didn't place high enough to be able to do it. So, it is what it is. I've been able to qualify the previous years, but I also was able to fish a lot more the previous years.
Yeah.
I don't get to fish as much anymore, so kind of shows in the performance, so to speak. But whenever I get to put a little bit of time, I get to kind of creep back up there. And I've been doing some fishing boat tournaments with a friend of mine here locally. So we're up for Angler of the Year. We fished the Texas, what is it? Oh gosh, I forgot now what it was called in Austin, Texas. It's the Bass Media.
Nice.
So I've been doing that with Sam Garza, the owner of the sponsors me here in San Antonio of Outdoor Office. So yeah, I've been doing a little bit of the boat scene, getting used to the trolling motor and fishing there. And I tell you what, man, I get a lot more tired on the boat than I do on the kayak.
Really? Why is that?
Oh man, I think it just has to do with you standing up all day and having to stabilize, whether it's a windy day or not. But he lets me take control of the trolling motor, and we kind of, I get to feel what it's like to be up there all day long on that trolling motor. And I'll tell you what, it is more tiring than a kayak.
Really? That's interesting. Well, the thing is, you're standing the whole time too. Like, it's not like when you kayak, you can sit down and all that. Even if you have to pedal and paddle, and when you have a motor, you don't have to pedal and paddle that much.
Yeah, I got to chat with Christine Fisher for a little bit over when we fished an event here not too long ago together over. Was it Palestine? No, I can't remember which event it was. Just weeks ago, not too long ago, we drove up to.
Oh yeah, the Texas Bass Nation. The first one was Palestine.
Yeah. So I
stop.
think I don't know where I placed. I forgot, but I got to check. But she was there, and I was talking to her about about fishing on the boat. She was like, "Yeah," she agreed. It was like you get really tired on the boat.
Yeah, she's fishing the Bass Open, trying to qualify for the elite. So hopefully she's able to do that. By the way, I forgot to mention on the intro, the Classic Expo. It's gonna be held in the Fort Worth Convention Center Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Mariner Sales does have a booth over there. It's booth 5617. It's on the second floor. Go check it out. Fortunately, I'm not gonna be there tomorrow. I got a lot of work tomorrow, 2 clients tomorrow, but I'm going to try to be there on Sunday. But go check it out. They have the new Old Town EPDL and the PDL. I think they're calling it the Explorer. The EPDL looks awesome. They changed a lot in the whole design as far as the deck design and I'm not a huge fan of the EPDL, but the PDL, I mean, it looks amazing. The way the Mariners Sales rigged it up, it got me thinking about Old Town, man. It's a nice kayak, definitely. So go check it out.
Yeah, is that the one with the platform or no?
No, you were talking about the Tactical Pro from Wilderness System or the Bonafide XTR?
Oh, you know what? The Bonafide XTR is the one I'm talking about. Yeah. I was curious to trying that thing out. It looked pretty. Looks pretty nice.
To me, that's a boat. That's. I mean, I'm not gonna say here in a PA-14 is a kayak or Sportsman Autopilot's a kayak. None of those are
Yeah.
kayaks, anyways. But
It's a,
that one to me, Bonafide, that's more of like a little bass boat, like a Johnny boat or something like that. And I'm not criticizing. I'm not. That's
yeah.
not like a negative statement. It's just my
It's
personal
it's a
opinion.
14-footer though, right?
I don't. It's a well. I think it's a 13-footer because it's XTR 130. So I'm assuming
Oh,
it's a
okay.
13
Got
footer.
you. It's a 30 or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It
it
looks
looks
interesting.
great. Don't get me wrong. It's a fishing machine. I would love to fish out of that one. But it's like you mentioned, it's that's a
I
platform.
can see someone in the spawn season put a little platform up the front.
Yeah,
They can stand
fishing
up
for
on it.
reds, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, the old town PDLs, the new ones that came out are pretty awesome. The deck design starts to look a little bit like a PA-12. Not exactly like that, but just more of a open layout,
Mm-hmm.
especially on the front, a little bit wider. So um Mike M says not really that different with from a Titan X. That's true. That is very true, Mike. Not that different at all. I tried the Titan X. That thing is a barge, man. Try turning that thing is like trying to turn a semi truck, making a huge turn on a semi truck. It's crazy,
Like driving a bus, right?
dude. It is crazy and it's slow too. I'm not a fan of the Titan X. I'm sure
Uh,
it's a great kayak. It's just too big for me.
yeah,
But
haven't branched off to too many brands. I've been stuck on the pro angler for quite some time now. Ever since I think my first kayak, I started off in the Pescador Pilot stuff
yeah,
way back in the day, like in 15 or 16, and then I thought that was great, right? And when I got the pedal system in the Pescador something Pilot, and I didn't realize, I was like, oh, let me try this pro angler. I was like, well, yep, it steps it up a notch, and
yeah.
so
No,
never
that
looked
fin
back.
drive is it's just it
Oh, it's
moves a lot of
amazing.
water.
Yeah. There's a love and hate relationship there because
Yeah,
I've gone through some headaches, but I tell you what, God, I love my damn
when it
pro
works,
angler.
it's the
It's yeah.
360 drive is there's I understand the whole thing about braking and I broke one and I smashed it against the rocks on the back end of a wake of a bass boat. So I'm not gonna blame the drive for that, but I got it replaced in less than a week. But I've heard the stories and all that. Actually,
Hmm.
Brian Howell just before the tournament broke one of the steering cables on it, and Duke Tran had to drive to Lake Fork to give it to him. So it has its issues, but when it works, man, that drive's amazing.
Man, that's
It's hard
awesome.
to go back to anything else once you have that 360
It
drive.
is. It is.
Honestly,
When it's working, it's hard to beat.
yeah.
But yeah.
It's we'll see what happens with the Hobie. I'm kind of worried about not because I'm a Hobie fan or anything like that. I do like the PA 360, but I'm worried about what's going to happen with and not to get into political side of things, but the reality of the tariffs that are being posed. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Hobie has that their um, assembly uh, is in Mexico. So the production
Oh,
comes out of Mexico. So I'm
oh,
assuming that's going to be affected by the tariffs. Maybe not. Maybe it doesn't affect
well,
their
hopefully,
particularly,
yeah. We'll have to
components.
figure. Yeah, we'll have to figure. Is that? I haven't even been keeping up with that. Is that actually going into effect? Like
I think it already did, but I
it
don't
did
think
go
it's
into
on
effect?
everything.
Yeah, I think it's selective.
Yeah, but I don't. I
Um,
have no idea. I'm just worried that because at this point it's you can barely. I mean, they're at $6,000. I mean, how more? You remember when Eric Jackson came out with these prototype design of his kayak, which was pretty cool. I mean, that thing floated like out of the water. Like that thing was
mhm.
walking on water. And the big deal about it was like a $7,000 kayak. And at that time, that was like 5 years ago. Everybody's like, that's crazy, $7,000 kayak. We're not that far off from that, anyways. Eric
Yeah,
Jackson
I
might be
know.
coming back with that kayak by the way things are going.
No, I know exactly. Yeah, who knows where this price is going to end up at? But I've been holding on to my 22, I think, Hobie, and I don't know. I was thinking about upgrading it, but I heard the XR had a little bit of problems. But then they came out with that other one that has that design on the back, so it's got the mounts a little bit different. So I'm not sure. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I mean, I haven't tried it. We'll see. Corey Geisenford says Rolando, Amanda, and Armando. That's a misspell, but oh, he corrected it already on the next comment. What's up, fellas, kayakers and friends? Corey, thanks always for supporting the podcast. Mike M has another comment. Says I was debating getting a Hobie, and I looked at one last week, and the plastic flexes more than I like. I weigh 250, so I'm not sure that would work out for me. It does flex. I don't. It does flex more like that than in Old Town. I would say that. Um, I mean, I've seen guys bigger than you. For that, not to put him on the spot, but our friend in common, Daniel Glenny, I think he's north of
Uh,
250, right? Like,
Daniel's probably 250. I mean, he's a tall guy, so
yeah,
he's
he's a
six
tall guy.
something.
It's not
Yeah, he's
that
a tall guy.
I'm not fat shaming or anything like that, but
Yeah, and but no, I've seen bigger than Dan. I mean, I've
and
seen. I mean, we have a friend of ours here in San Antonio, also a little bit heavier, pushing, over 250, getting on them and being just fine. I guess where the only problem becomes is like if you're trying to fish in those conditions when it's really, really windy,
yeah,
it probably gets a little bit more tipsy. But those kayaks can seriously handle some weight.
yeah,
250 is not.
yeah.
It's no problem for the Hobie, for the 14 at least.
Yeah, and they reinforce the
Hmm.
where the seat are, which is one of the biggest problems. The problem, most of the problems came in the
Yeah,
crack in this where the seat
I
was sitting, but they reinforced that. Even they reinforced it last year, and they reinforced it even more this year for the 2025.
yeah, I've been lucky that I've never had to deal with that problem. But
Me neither. Yeah,
I will tell you that when I stand up, I mean, I only weigh 190 pounds, 190, but I find myself sometimes at 190 pounds sitting down on that seat kind of hard, by
yeah,
accident. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, if you're heavier, that contributes to the problem having on that deal. So I caution people, I tell them like, you know what, just make sure that you don't come down on that seat kind of hard. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I think it does, because I've found myself doing that, even though that I know not to do that, accidentally doing it.
yeah. No,
So
I made a video about my honest review. You can go check it out, Mike, or anybody that's watching or listening on my YouTube channel, Bass Kayak and Beers. It's titled "The Truth," and I do talk about what I love and what I hate about my Hobie PA14. So if you want to get you check it out, it's really unbiased. I am not sponsored by Hobie. I do have a business partnership with Mariner Sales. That being said, I can pick any kayak. I'm not in any way obligated to use a PA14. I could use an old one. I could use a Bonafide. I just decided to go to PA14 because I love the 360 drive and I love the deck design and the horizontal rod storage and all that. So
yeah,
if
yeah.
you want to check out that video, it's really unbiased. I got no dog in that fight. So go check it out. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Bassmaster Championship. Let me actually share the screen. So I was texting Steve Owens because I was like, dude, I'm doing a video on it. You cutting the cut off the offline at like 1 o'clock and it ends at 6:30. And he messaged me back and said it wasn't that they shut off the standing, is that there was problems with Tourney X that you couldn't log in. So he actually started updating every hour after that on the Bassmaster Kayak Series Facebook. And let me share the screen. We're gonna go over the top 10 on this. Share screen. Uh, I hear a lot of background noise over there, Rolando. I don't know if you can help it
Oh,
or not, but if
hold
not,
on.
it's not a big deal.
Give me a second. I'll see. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no hurries. All right, while Rolando checks on that. So first place, we got Wyatt Hammonds, 110 and a half inches. Second place, Joshua Deal, 106.75. Tied with Bennett Nail. I'm sorry. Did I say that right? Nail. Sorry. it's a screenshot, so I can hardly read it, but it's 106 and a quarter as well. Um, Joshua Deal is leading because man, they're even tied for big fish, so that means Joshua Deal caught his big fish 20. Oh no, his big fish is 23 and a half. Bennett is 22 and a half from what I see. You and Minor at the time they put off lines, or they cut off the leaderboard. Your Minor was leading in the big bass with 24 and a quarter at 106 and a quarter inches. The top,
Let me see if this is working, guys. Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you perfect. So the top
Oh, I gotta correct
13.
my audio real quick. It's not picking it up on my headset.
Can you hear me? We can hear you. So the top 13 have 100 inches. Now, can you hear me, Rolando? Are you there?
Armando, you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Well, I can see you nodding, saying you can hear me, but I'm not sure I'm actually hearing you.
I'll message you on the. Let me remove Rolando here so you can try and work that out. So, and that's impressive. We and me and Duke were talking about it. We figured the top 10 at least we're gonna have 100 inches. Actually, it's the top 13 had 100 inches at the time of lines out. That could have changed. My bet was that the big bass of the day was gonna be about 100, not the big bass, but the total. And keep in mind, it's only 1 day event. Let me see if we can get Rolando back in. Hold on. Can you hear me, Rolando? Can you hear me? Let me kick Rolando out and
There we go. We're good. I can hear
yeah.
you.
All right, cool. So me and Duke were talking about we're putting not real bets, but uh bets on what the biggest, not the biggest bass, the biggest bag was gonna be. And for those that don't know, the day one was canceled due to high winds. It was gusting at a 50-mile-per-hour winds, and I think sustained winds was 30 miles per hour. So obviously, that's a good call. Of all the lakes in Texas, I would say Lake Fork is the last lake you want to fish with high wind, just because it is so stumpy. Those waves are going to lift you over a stump. They're going to drop you down, and you're going to land in a stump, thinking that you are clear, and then there's no stumps below you. It is very, very dangerous lake, probably the most dangerous lake in Texas when, for kayakers at least, when the winds are that bad. So that was a good call. So day two, which was going to be a 1 day event at that point, was fishing for 11 hours. So it's from like I think it's from 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. That is 11 hours of fishing. With that being said, I thought, man, you got 11 hours of fishing. You get that afternoon bite at 6:30 p.m. You know, you can get that bite from 5 to 6. If the fish start feeding at that time, that will probably take it somewhere in the teens, like 112, 13, 14, maybe up to 115. What do you think, Rolando? I think he's muted. You're muted, Rolando.
Okay.
There you go.
So I mean, I think the reason it made it, I think that's probably about as good as it's going to get, 110. The only reason I think that it probably didn't get much higher is because those winds, it makes it tough. And so I do think that I don't. I mean, I knew it was going to at least be over 100. You get a north wind west spawn season, you're going to get those big girls coming out.
Yeah.
They're going to be munching. Um, it's obviously it's Lake Fork, so it's not it's one of those things where that you can definitely see 118s, one above 115, but it's been getting hammered too. Like I've seen some
Yeah.
reports, like it's getting fished a lot, and I mean it always does, right? So, but you add a little bit of wind mix to it like that, it makes it tough for some of these kayaks to get out to these locations. We were talking earlier about what is that? The main arm, Caney, right?
Caney Creek.
Yeah, Caney Creek.
you can't fish the main Caney Creek if you got a northwest wind coming that's kind of strong. It's going to make the whole main arm pretty tough.
Yeah.
So you're only going to have those little uh, coves that you're going to be able to fish in. There was what 145 anglers at this one.
Let's see, 145. Yep.
Yeah, so that's a good little chunk. And plus it was a cold north wind, so I'm thinking that uh, there's some fish that are they're gonna get a little bit shy. They're not gonna want to bite as good. But the big ones, I always like a north wind when and especially when you introduce a jerk bait. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you look at 2000, I mean, if you look at the past Bassmasters events, shoot, I think almost all the top 10, one of the top lures in there was a jerk bait. In the spawn, one of the last spawn events, I think it was last year, right? Who won it? That young kid, I can't remember.
Yeah,
Uh,
I forgot his name.
yeah,
It was Lake Fork, right? Wasn't it?
yeah, it was Lake Fork. So I do think that I do think 110 is probably going to be. It's hard to top that, man. I mean, can you catch and can you break that? I mean, shoot.
I think Wyatt Hammonds has this one just because
Yeah.
two things. This is the 6 p.m. update. The tournament's at 6:30. That means Joshua Deal would have to call what 4 inches
Well, but you can have
in 30 minutes,
you
unless
could
he already did and he hadn't submitted the fish. That's
so
also a
someone
good
could
point.
be sandbagging a 26. I mean, that's very possible there. I will tell you that some
Yep.
of my strategy whenever and on a big tournament like this, if I would have caught a 24 or a 26, I wouldn't have submitted it. It would go into my live well. You know what I'm saying? And I leave that because I will tell you that like when you're battling for first, second, and third, if you're one of those guys you're watching the leaderboard, you see someone pass you, you tend to get after it. You know what I'm saying? To try to see if you start casting a little bit more. I personally don't like to look at the leaderboard. I never really do, even though, I just leave it till later on to watch. I just fish as hard as I can, period. But there are people that watch, and I used to do this early on where I would watch and they would put a sense of urgency if I just fell from first to second or third, or, if you're in the top
Mm,
five and you see that you're within striking distance, you start making moves and it like re-energizes you to want to
yeah.
fish. So when when people sandbag like a big 26 inch or a 25 inch, you have an ace in your back pocket, right? And so like if that person thinks they got you, you're like, well, I got 2 more inches on you technically, but I haven't shown them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
no,
it's
that's a good point. Like that is a strategy. Like
yeah.
you want that ace in the pocket, just kind of like you don't want. I understand that. I understand that strategy. Some people don't like the whole sandbagging thing. I'm not gonna judge. I don't do it mainly because haven't been that. I haven't been ever put in that
Well,
situation.
I think it's
For-
different when you're
yeah,
sandbagging, like when
yeah,
you're just not posting anything all
yeah,
day, right? That's different. But it's not always that you catch a 26 or a 25-inch fish, and that is a game changer when you're talking about inches, because it's not easy to catch a 24 plus fish. Shoot, it's not easy to catch a 22-inch fish, much less a 24 or 25. So when you get a 24, 25, um, it's gonna make up some ground, especially if you had like a 19 or 20-inch fish in there. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So you got a leader, you're in second place. They got you at 110. You're sitting at 108, but you got a 26 incher in your deal, and you're sitting on a 17-inch fish or an 18-inch fish. You're about to make a big leap, and
Yeah,
they
no,
don't
like
know it. Yeah.
Joshua Deal, his smallest fish is 17 and a half. And we're talking about that pretty much everybody in the top 15, 20 has like a 20 plus inch,
Uh,
has multiple 20 inch plus, like 20, 23, 20, 24, or in the not just the 20s, like 21, 22, 23. So it wouldn't take that. It sounds like a big lead when you consider there's only 30 minutes left. But honestly, with him having a 17 and a half, it only takes what he only needs 4 inches
Oh,
to
that's
go over. Actually, not
yeah.
even that. He only needs three and a
Uh,
quarter because his big bass is bigger than white hammers. So he would
hmm
only need what a
Well,
20 incher, right? I think so.
yeah, if he gets a 20 incher, he would replace 17, 18, 19, 20, and he would add 3 inches to that.
He would have no. Well, he would have
No,
2.5 inches. So no,
yeah,
he would have to have like a
20,
21 incher.
21 incher, and then that would put him at the 110.75, which is
Yeah,
very, very doable.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wyatt, uh, he's not safe. Not with the 17 and a half with someone in second place, and then you're a Lake Fork to top it off in spring, in spawn season. Yeah, absolutely. Could have been sandbagging something there.
Or
And
you would have just caught it in the last 30 minutes.
or the last 30 minutes. Yeah.
Bennett would have been. It's kind of a little bit harder for
Well,
him
that's a
to
well.
leapfrog him.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't have.
Yeah, he would
Yeah, it's kind of.
literally have to catch a wow. Yeah, he would literally have to catch a 24 incher
Yeah.
to catch up to
Look at that board, man. Jesus.
Ewan
13.
Minor. His smallest fish is 19 and a half. He could also, could also get a big one. Gene Jensen, all his fish are in his 20s. I can't imagine him
Yeah.
making up a 4.25 inch difference in 30 minutes. That's a lot. That's asking a lot. Um Dark horse here is I know his 8.5 inches below with Drew Gregory number 8, but he has an 18.25 and a 19.25. So even though he's positioned at number 8, he could, and I'm not going to accuse Drew Gregory of sandbagging, but he does fish in areas, especially if he's fishing on
Oh
Lake
yeah.
Fork, when it's hard to find a cell signal. So I mean,
Right.
he doesn't have to upgrade that. He he only needs like a couple of big fish, which he's more than capable of getting to
Yeah.
actually, it wouldn't be the first time that he makes a leap into first place. So I wouldn't like
So
Wyatt Hammonds feels. I mean, I can see how he could feel safe with that lead, but it's really not on Lake
he
Fork.
would be I would say that he would be safe in that lead from fifth place. The top four could potentially take a take a shot at him, but not realistically. I mean, it's not more. There's
I
more
don't.
so as Joshua. Joshua is probably more definitely in contention to really that one. I'd be concerned of Joshua for sure. Not so much from fourth from Ewing down. It's a little tough.
It's
I
a
think.
little tough because now
Yeah,
you're
it's a
talking
little
about
tough.
catching 24 inches.
Yeah.
But again, I wouldn't fall asleep with Duke Gregory just because of his history. Like he
Yeah, no,
just
Duke
needs
Gregory.
two good fish, which he might already had, but haven't been able to upload. Um, it's one of those things. It's kind of funny because you think like, all right, why would somebody in sixth, ninth, or 10th place have a better shot at catching Wyatt? It's because you
Well, I mean,
really
you
need one
his
or two one quality fish and one big fish to surpass, and the other ones they already have those, and it's hard to get like
well,
multiple 24 and 23 inches.
it is, but I mean, these guys. I mean, Ewing,
Yeah,
Russ. I mean, Garrett's been performing really well this year
yeah,
too. Um, but like you said too, I mean, what's his name? Russ Snyder, Drew Gregory. I mean, they all have history of just being really good anglers. So it's yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they came somehow from sixth place and got it done.
yeah. That's the thing about it. It's like
hmm
we always watch like second or third place, but honestly, let me take my glasses off for a
Yeah.
second.
Well, I mean that
um
happened to me at Cattle. I think I came Cattle. I was like in seventh place when I
yeah,
finished day one. Um, and and sometimes the bite kind of dies for certain people, but it picks up, for those for someone else, and if they're in the right area, and then they can make it up. But It's gonna be interesting, but yeah, Russ Snyder's actually has he'd have to replace two of the 19 and the 18. Um, and this was
API
at six
Classic.
o'clock. This was at 6 o'clock, right?
Six
So,
o'clock update. I don't know when he took the screenshot, but the update he posted was at 6 o'clock.
dude, and Russ,
He,
now you don't can't sleep on Russ, man. He freaking
never.
fishes to the.
Christian Fisher too. I mean, she's right up there.
Where's she? Oh
She
yeah,
only
Chris.
has 122.5. So if she catches a few, now that's the thing. You have to catch more than one in order to upgrade.
Yeah, so that one would be that's starting to get a little tough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you never know. Matthew Scotch, because it's the championship and it's at legendary Lake Fork, I was really rooting for somebody from Texas. I don't care if it was Guillermo, Matthew, or Michael
Yeah.
James Cates or Philip Wyatt. I love all of those guys. Um, Great group of dudes. I just wanted somebody from Texas to defend this house. And man, the same thing that kind of always happens with Lake Fork. It's crazy. It's one only
North
one Texan
Carolina,
in the
Georgia.
top 10, and that's Matthew Scotch, and he's number 10 at the times of offline. So I mean, in Tourney
You know,
X.
yeah, and I think sometimes Lake Fork, I mean, it's hard to judge it because it gets fished so much, man, and
Yeah.
there's always so much high pressure, and then you get these people that come from out of state that don't get to fish that often, and they fish non-traditional areas, and sometimes that does it. You know what I mean? Puts you on some good quality fish, and then being that that's the spawn. I mean, the majority of your fish on. I mean, how many shallow fishermen do we have in the top 10? Let's go back up. We have, I mean, I would consider, uh, I would consider. I don't know Wyatt Hammett too much on his fishing style, but
Yeah.
Ewing's pretty. I mean, Ewing does
Ewan is
is
the Swiss Army knife in that case. That's why I consider him the
yeah.
top angler right now because he can kill you with the forward facing sonar on deep water. He can kill you with moving short on shallow water.
Yeah, yeah. Russ Snyder's. I consider him kind of a shallow fisherman.
Oh yeah, Drew
Drew
Gregory.
Gregory, Matthew Scotch too.
Yeah,
Christine Fisher too. She's definitely Bennett. I think I've seen Joshua. I've seen Bennett's name. I've seen Joshua's name before. These are all oh, Gene Jensen is. I mean, Gene Jensen, right?
kind
He
of Ewan,
fishes.
the same thing. He can
Yeah,
do either one. Yeah.
yeah. He can do anything. Um, Garrett Wade, I would say a little bit more shallow than I would say offshore, I think. Right?
I'm not that
Not
familiar
sure.
with Garrett Wade's style, honestly. Um, but that's an
Um,
interesting subject. You and I were talking about this, and coming to this tournament, we thought one of the favorites going to be Matthew Scotch. He does not Matthew. Well, Matthew Scotch is one of the favorites. That too.
mhm.
My money would have been on Brian Howell just because he's
Yeah,
so
he
good
does.
at that lake.
Yeah, huh?
And he
Yeah.
has his spots. He knows his spots. I'm not going to mention the spots by name, but you and I know the spots. Pretty
Mhm.
much everybody that knows Brian Howell knows where
He
his
likes to
spot
fish.
is and where
Mhm.
he's going to fish. But the people that usually fish that spot, not that, I mean, listen, not 100 inches and 96 inches. It's nothing to sneeze about. Brian Howell has 96 and 3/4, I think,
Mhm.
96 plus inches. Matthew Scotch, 100 inches. So, but they both kind of fish that same area. You you alluded to that before. Do you think that area was
Well, you start.
affected when it's not producing what normally? Like we've seen consistently Brian Howell hit the triple digits on that area.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. It's been a while since I fished fork, to be honest with you. But one of the things that I'm seeing just in the industry alone, it's definitely more. Uh, the forward-facing sonar deal is still playing a big role now in the spawn season. So, when I started using it, I was just using it mostly offshore, but now people are using it shallow too. So I just feel like those areas that like where where Brian likes to fish. I mean, those are known areas, but he has his spots, and I feel like I'd have to look. I didn't even look at the history of what the tournaments were all. But I mean, if you look at Fork, there's tournaments probably every weekend, especially in the spawn.
I've
Um,
I've
but
pre-fished a tournament in Lake Fork on a Monday, and there's been a bass boat
yeah,
tournament.
but
It wasn't even like on summer. It was like a school day, work day, regular work day, and it was a tournament on a Monday. I'm like, for the love of God.
but we haven't had a whole lot of tournaments in the spawning season at Fork that I can recall that I could say.
Not nationally, but still
Yeah,
locals. They
the locals do, yeah. But I feel like because we picked this lake to be on this time of year nationally with 145 kayakers, it's gonna fish small, especially when you add. Well, today was semi-windy, right?
yeah, it wasn't
Dra-
hazardous, I would say,
Yeah,
but
but I feel like it probably fished a little bit small in the sense that that it did. What were the winds today? Were they 10 miles per hour?
um the
I think they
forecast was, gust at around low teens, sustained winds,
like
high single digits, like 8, 9, maybe
9.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's not bad.
I mean, that was always at the lake, just it's a little bit always a little bit stronger at the lake, especially with
Mm-hmm.
the gust, but generally that's what it was. That's a good point you mentioned, because me and Duke were talking about it. This is with the day one being canceled and the winds being so bad that even if you're on a bass boat, you could fish, but mostly guides and all that. I mean, it's that bad of a wind, they don't fish out. Like, there weren't that many people. It was a perfect day with little
Mm-hmm.
wind and beautiful skies. Yeah, you'll see, the crappy fishermen, the guide service boats and all that, and then would have made it tougher, especially with the spawn. But being that day one was canceled, and probably not a lot of those bass boat community that I just mentioned, we're going to be fishing that lake. I thought, man, they're not going to be as pressured as they normally would on Lake Fork, and that was going to lead to bigger numbers, which
Yeah.
it has
Y-
110 at the moment, and probably
I
more than
just
that.
yeah, no, I mean these are big numbers. It's just there's a lot of big numbers all the way down. Shoot, all the way down to 13. What was the last one? 100 inches was stopped at 14th position.
16, I think.
16th. Holy moly, yeah. I don't know if historically it's been like that when we've gone to Fork. It's always been a few 100-inch bags, but I don't know that if it's gone almost 16 deep. That's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
it's
that's a
it's
lot.
well, it's also the quality of the anglers. Everybody that
Yeah.
qualified is a pretty
Yeah, they're
solid angler.
pretty solid angler. Yeah.
Um, it's interesting. By the way, Gerald, I know you're commenting on Instagram. I don't get them. I have to scroll down, but thank you for your comments and supporting Three the Hard Way. Go check him out on Instagram. Gerald, I've been using his name tag to act. It's funny because I posted a story of inviting people to come check out the the booth at the Bassmaster Classic starting Friday, because we're setting it up, but they didn't have my name tag, so I was using Gerald's name tag.
Yeah.
And I posted a story, and sure enough, Gerald noticed, like, "What are you doing with my name tag?" That was the only way I could get in. But here he
That's
is. He's on
funny.
Facebook right now. He says, I said, all I want to know is where the Bassmaster Classic
Those
badges.
badges.
Dude, I don't tell Duke to give you one, because I brought it home with me because there was nobody else. I didn't want to leave it late in there. And I'm actually not gonna be able to make it tomorrow, but Duke has a bunch of spare ones. He can give you one. Oh, that was funny.
Yeah.
I
No,
pulled up.
man, I was actually wanting to go to the classic, and then
Are you not coming?
I don't I'm I was talking to my friend Daniel about Glenny, talking about we was like, hey, maybe we should go to the classic. I was like, I really want to go fish cattle though, because I haven't fished cattle in a while, and it's next weekend. So I was like, geez. So we were
I forgot I
yeah.
have to make my reservation for my my room.
You know what? I know we booked a room, but shoot, I don't know how many rooms just in
Oh,
case
check
we
it out.
talk. Yeah.
Uncertain in
What's that?
on uncertain in. That's
I
the.
have no. Yeah, I don't know where he booked them. Daniel did.
All
So
right,
he's the one
cool.
that told me. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I gotta get. Yeah, I gotta get with Daniel. But so yeah, we're torn between. We wanted to go over there, but then I was like, man, I haven't fished cattle, and I kind of really want to go and I want to perform good. So I'm like, shoot, maybe we should just go practice and just cut out the classic. So
I wanted to
tomorrow
go.
we're gonna decide that tomorrow.
I wanted to go to support the winners. I went last year when it was in 10 killer, and I really wanted to go this year, but I have to take advantage of the uptick in clientele. What we're talking about in real estate and mortgage. You know, so I got two clients. I was like, man, I really don't want to. I really want to be there at the classic, but at the same time, I need to pay off some stuff. By the way, I was gonna do the
Hmm.
kayak adventure series on Sunday, but I'm swamped with work, super tired, and then this week find out that my kitchen cabinets were all flooded underneath, and the wall was it's all molded because the dishwasher was
Leaking.
leaking underneath. But it's not a big leak, which is worse because it's a big leak. You can just
Yeah,
this is
you
problem.
know it.
It was a small leak that was sustained in that compartment for years, and we didn't notice. And now the
Wood is
I
all
mean,
rot, and
yeah,
it's
I know it's a mess, and we're gonna have to spend. And the insurance is not covering it because they
of
say
course
it's
they're not.
you know how it is. I'm
Yeah,
not even gonna. But anyway, so that's gonna be expensive. So I'm like, nah, no, I gotta. As much as I want to do the kayak adventure series, I need to save some money, and as much as I want to go to the classic for the awards for the kayak championship, I need to get those clients. So
yeah. It's all of the adult stuff, man. Trust
yeah.
me, I get it. I was fishing a lot, 17 through I don't know 21, and then I made a change to sales, and now I'm just like, oh, I work so much now, and I don't get to fish a lot. But I tell you what, I'm gonna put some money away, and I'm adding something to my bucket list where I'm like, I told the wife, I was like, hey, once I put certain money away, I'd like to take a shot at the opens, get a boat
Oh, there you go.
and take a shot at the opens. And if it doesn't work, hey, it doesn't work. I can always come back to my job and do it anytime. You know what I mean?
That's awesome, man.
So I don't know. We'll see when that happens. I'm getting a little bit older to where I don't know if I want to do all of that because it's some work, but it is I might add it to my bucket list. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, man. It's funny when I was in paddle and fin, and I used to work for American Airlines when the whole COVID happened. So they were to avoid layoffs, they were offering paid leave of absence, but like you would have to come back
Hmm.
um after 2 years. It didn't end up lasting 2 years, it ended up lasting 6 months because then everything all of a sudden was lifted and everybody started flying again. But it was paid, so I stay home and actually earn a check. Obviously, it's not wasn't going to be a full 100% of my check, but a percentage of my check without having to go to work. So I was like, I'm jumping on that bandwagon. And I was talking to Brian Schiller from Paddle and Fin, and he said, like, dude, if you go like take all that free time to go fishing, like your game, because it's not just practice, it's like, and he was right. It's like when your mind doesn't have to worry about work and all the other things like that's taken care of, um, dude, you can focus. It's on fishing, like your thoughts, you're brainstorming, you're mentally in the moment when you're practicing and when you're on the tournament, dude. It takes your game up a level. And then when everything kind of like started going back to normal, I had to start working again. Everything, it's like you and I were talking about this not that long ago, even before we started recording. It's like once you start working again and work becomes your primary um thing on your
Your
mind,
focus, yeah.
your
Hmm.
focus on your mind, then it starts affecting your fishing game. And to illustrate that, when you look at the people right now, like if I share the screen right now and we go, I mean, not everyone, I don't know each and every one. Like I don't know what Wyatt Hammond does for a living, but I can tell you, and Minor, this is, I mean, he goes to college and everything, but this is what he does most of the time. You remind of Gene Jensen, which is number top 4 and 5. Gene Jensen also. This is his life, fishing. Drew Gregory, Russ Snyder, Matthew Scotch, Christine Fisher. This is all people that their life revolve around
From
fishing,
fishing.
fishing full time. That's in some of the cases that's their main income. That's why they're so good, and that's why you consistently see them and every single tournament just racking it up on checks and being in the money, if not winning, but being in the top 10 or whatever the
Right.
cutoff is for a check. They're always there because that's their livelihood.
Right. Yeah, no, time on the water, man. There is something to be said about that. Of course it's a balance, right? You can't always just be on the water and be good, but it's having the right mentality of when you're on the water and and looking for the right areas to find fish because there's times where I've talked to people where like you can tell them what you're catching them on, what you're fishing on, and they still can't catch them. So it's a
Yeah.
balance of things, right? You got to be good at what you got to have you got to understand the species, but you also have to spend time on the water. I mean, it doesn't matter how much you know about the species. If you don't know the body of water and you don't spend time on it, you can't show up on a tournament day and expect to be in the top 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew Gregory is an encyclopedia. If I talk to him about bass species and subspecies, it's like, oh my God, it's names of subspecies
Yeah.
I not even heard, and he knows exactly when they spawn and what size they grow, and it's like, dude, and where exactly geographically they are in the
Or
United
look,
States and what bodies of water. I'm like, dude, that is the it's it's like any sport. A NFL quarterback, a hockey player, basketball player, a pitcher, a slugger in baseball. They're the ones because they're the ones that are practice. They're the ones that don't cut corners in practice. Same
right.
thing. It's hard to make a living out of fishing, especially kayak fishing. But I mean, it's only natural and it's only kind of justice, you might say, that the people that spend their lives doing it are going to be the ones that are consistently catching check. That's normal. Like, if you're not doing this for a living and you sign up for a trail, like you can't expect that you're gonna find the same success. I see so many people like drop off and they get burned out. It's like because they don't, they're spending all this money just to to support to sponsor all these great anglers, which is that's mostly that's
Yeah.
what we're doing. Yes, you can win a tournament every now and then. You'll see names that you've never seen before every now and then, but when you look at all the people, most of the people in they're qualified to catch a check, most of them, for the 2 or 3 exception, are going to be people that do this for a living, either locally or nationally.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, it's hard to compete. There's a like you mentioned, you really have to be on there doing it a lot of full time to be able to cut to sustain it, right? I do it whenever I can just because I love the competition. And even if I'm donating, I'm like, I might donate, but I like to get around the old, the whole crew, right?
Yeah, the
Matthew,
camaraderie and all
the
that.
camaraderie and talking to those guys and just but it does help, you bet if you're not going to be on the water a lot, you better be doing some homework on the other stuff, right? Online, understanding the time of year, the conditions you're going into for the day. Um, I bet a lot of these guys, it's like second nature to them. So they show up at Fork, they already know which banks to hit. They already know historically which areas tend to be a little bit better than others, and then they have a lot of skill under their belt with different techniques. So if the bank beating isn't working, they can resort to the live scope, or if they can't, the live scope isn't working, they can figure out certain different styles, right? That you just go to punching grass. I don't know if there's grass over there right now, but um, you gotta be doing your homework off the water if you're not spending a lot of time on the water to at least get within range. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but I'm interested to see when are they announcing that? When are they announcing
No,
that?
it's
Tomorrow,
going to
correct?
be
Tomorrow. It's no
tomorrow. I think
Friday,
they
right?
might announce the top 10
Mm-hmm.
today because not everybody is going to show up at the award. Only the top 10 get the red
Only the top
carpet
10.
treatment. So I'm
Yep.
assuming they'll announce the top 10 somewhere today. Let me refresh. Maybe no, it's too early because if it's lined out at 6:30, let me double check on
Man,
the
that's a
Bassmaster if there's any more updates.
Armando. We got to make it to one of these things, man.
I know, man. It's crazy. No, that's recent activity. That's the last update on it.
What's the
Uh
closest Bassmaster event that's coming here that we got a shot at?
um
No, I know Caddo is part
uh
of the Bass
no,
Nation, but
Cattle, the Toledo Bend, which
yeah,
I've
yes,
never had. I
Toledo
don't have
Bend.
good history at Toledo Bend.
Yeah, Toledo
My
Bend.
focus right now is Texas Bass Nation qualify for the championship in Texas Bass in Texas, and then if I get in the top 10%, then I get an automatic qualify for the championship next year, and with the expenses paid. So that's even better. That's
Yeah, that
so
is
for those
nice.
that don't know, if you live in Texas, Texas Bass Nation, if you qualify for the championship, and I think you have to fish at least 3 Texas Bass Nation event, and you end up in the top 10%, you get the entry fee paid, which is something like $400 for the national championship on 2026. And I think you get paid for your stay. I think they get an Airbnb or something like that. So
Yeah,
you don't have to pay
I
for your stay, and you don't have to pay for the entry fee.
yeah, I think it's the same. I actually that's how I ended up going to the one in, was it South Carolina? I won the championship
Yeah,
here in Texas. So yeah, and they paid for my stay. I remember that. Yep. So it's a good deal for sure to fish those events. I'm hoping that I can do well at the one that's coming up at Caddo, but man,
yeah,
it's that's going to be another 100 something inches it's just going to take at
yeah.
least.
At least Brian
Hmm.
Scarberry, I think, for the national, won it last year with 100 and
Yeah, I think it was last year. Hmm.
yeah. And then
Hmm.
I think for the Bassmaster class, I think was it a 2 day event? I don't think anybody. I think one or two cracked either day one or day two 100 inches, but I don't think anybody did 200 inches. I can't
Right.
remember. I know Jin Jensen won it, but I don't think he did 200 inches
Hmm.
because I know he
Yeah.
didn't do 100 inches day one. He did like
Yeah.
90. He was like in fifth place, and then
Yeah. When
he
Jin
ended up in
Jensen
first
won it,
place.
I fished
Yeah,
that
Jin
event.
Jensen
That's
won
right.
it. Abi Abundanza got
Yeah.
second.
Yeah. He won it on those.
I think no,
My.
Abi Abundanza I think dropped to third. I can't remember who got second.
Oh man, it's gonna be
Yeah, that's
fun.
gonna be cool. I love that's been my favorite lake.
It
Wolf of
is.
Walmart, Duke, not Duke. Oh my God, sorry, Dave Erkey. Sorry, Dave says, are they gonna trailer everybody on their kayaks like they do with the fast boats on the classic? That would be awesome.
That actually would
But
be
not
cool.
everybody has a trailer, so you can bring your truck. But
They can borrow
it's
one of
we
those
don't have
Toyotas.
yeah, Dave, we don't have those fancy trucks with all that great paint job that they have on the glitter board and
Yeah.
on their truck. You'll see mostly 1990s F-150s or broken or Toyota Tacomas from early 2000s. So it's not a pretty sight if we do that. But if we get to a point where we get sponsorship that will give us like a nice pickup truck and a trailer to do that, that would be awesome. The award show is amazing for anybody that's here in Texas. I'm telling you, I spent the last 2 days working with the Mariner Sale booth, setting up everything. I went to the Classic Expo when they came here a few years ago. That they had to push it to summer because of COVID, and the expo itself was horrendous. I was in the Douglas booth. We were at a cattle barn at 100 and plus degrees with the stench of cow manure everywhere. It was bad. It was at Will Rogers, which Will Rogers is not for that. Even the air conditioned areas are not pretty. 10 kilo last year, the venue, I was not impressed by it. It's kind of had air conditioning, but it's kind of old and kind of dark, and um,
Yeah.
it wasn't pretty. It wasn't aesthetically pleasing. I'm telling you, the Texas Fort Worth Convention Center is looking amazing. It got recently renovated. It is huge. I've been to ICAST for the last 3 years, and ICAST always impressed me. Um, this is on par with any ICAST event that I've been. This, I mean, the everything looks amazing at the Fort Worth Convention Center. Clean, good lighting, great design, very spacious. It feels like an ICAST event, and it is awesome. So I recommend anybody that is, if you haven't been to a classic, this should be your first classic because I think Texas is doing it amazing. It's a lot better than it was. If you went to the one a few years ago at Will Rogers and Dickies Arena, the award ceremony is going to still be at Dickies Arena. You can actually take a little short bus that's going to be going back and forth from Dickies Arena to the convention center, so you don't have to pay for parking over there. If you're going to Fort Worth, street parking is free on Saturday and Sunday. So if you're going to the convention center, you go to the convention center, go to the expo, find somewhere to park. Even if you have in the street, it's free on the weekends. And then you can see the expo and then take the shuttle bus to Dickies Arena. Don't have to pay the parking at Dickies Arena. So that's what I would highly recommend for anybody that's doing it. I'm very impressed with what they're doing with the expo this year.
And you're going to be there Saturday and Sunday or no?
Not Saturday, but Sunday I'm going to be there.
I know. I want to go. It's all going to be dependent on what we decide to do tomorrow based on our conversation, whether we go to Cato or we go, have some fun in Dallas.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. I know you had a long day where you were rushing to get in on time. So was I. So I don't want to keep you too much. Final prediction. Who do you think? Let's put the leaderboard back up again.
Oh
Share
shit!
screen. God, I am struggling to focus here.
I'm
Final
thinking.
prediction. Who wins? Whoops, sorry, that one. Who wins
So
this? Wait a minute. Oh,
I
this is. Hold up, hold up. Why does it say? No, I did the wrong one. I screenshot the wrong one. Here it is. There we go. Final prediction. Who do you think is going to win it?
So you got the Georgia fisherman, North Carolina fisherman. This guy just needs 4 inches, needs a 20-incher in there based on the conditions. I'm gonna have to say that Wyatt's gonna hold on to it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think
Mhm.
Wyatt's going to hold up to it. The only two that I see having a shot right now, just because of the fish they can call, Joshua Deal wouldn't surprise me if he moves up with his 17 and a half. Wyatt Hammond's got to be sweating because that is a very callable fish.
Yes, I mean it wouldn't
So
surprise me if we saw him jump to first.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and I wouldn't surprise me Drew Gregory makes a big move. I think Drew Gregory moves into the top 5, probably. I'm not
Yeah,
sure completely sure. I think he moves into the top 5. I'm not sure he's gonna call enough to win it, but I think he moves into the top 5. Man, it's a coin toss for me, but I'm gonna say Wyatt hold on
I'm gonna
to the
say
lead.
Wyatt. I'm gonna say that Russ and Drew move up.
Yeah, yeah,
That this was
yeah.
30
Russ, I do
minutes
too.
still. I say 30 minutes still left, right when this was taken.
I don't know when the screenshot was taken, but he posted it at 6 o'clock. So he could have taken the screenshot
Yeah,
earlier
oh
than 6.
yeah, earlier before that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's still gonna be some movement, man. You get that evening bite. Uh, yeah. So I think there's gonna be. I bet Russ and Drew move,
Yeah, I would
and
agree.
let's see, Gene. Ewing Minor could move too. He's got a 19.
Yeah, he could be on the move too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think he's being that he already has a 19. I think it's hard for him to make up.
It is a
What
hard.
is it? A 3 and a
He,
quarter inch?
he would have to be at 21 and a half, right?
Yeah,
No,
something like
well,
that.
no. I mean, actually, Ewing just needs a
He,
20-inch fish. No, a 20 and a half. No,
he's at 105.
he's
No,
at
I'm sorry.
100,
I'm looking at Gene Jensen. 106 and a quarter.
Yeah, so if he gets a 21, it's what he would basically.
No, he needs a lot more. He needs 4 and a quarter inch to at least tie. His big fish would be a
Yeah,
tiebreaker. So he just needs to tie. Wyatt. So
Yeah,
that
he needs.
means
No, wait, you're talking about all the way to first. Yeah. I was saying moving up, just to.
moving up. Yeah, he can move
Yeah,
up
he can move up.
with just a
Yeah, because
20
he's
incher.
only. Yeah, because just with the 20 incher, but
Yeah, 20 incher will get him to top two. To get him to the second spot,
the,
tiebreaker. Assuming uh Neil and Deal stay. That kind of rhymes.
yeah.
Stay with the same numbers. He would leapfrog because of the break tiebreaker with the big bass.
What's the big bass right now?
Right now, well, again, when the screenshot was taken, 24 and a quarter. I would be shocked if that stays like that.
Yeah,
I'd
that
be
would be
shocked if
too.
24 and a quarter is ends up being the big bass. I think either your minor caught a bigger one or somebody caught a big one, but I will be shocked if Lake Fork with 11 hours to fish, somebody doesn't get
A
something close
26.
to 25 incher, 26
Yeah,
incher. I'd be shocked.
yeah. I would be shocked that that holds up because there's always, especially with the conditions, there's definitely some big girls that were up there.
Yep.
I'm surprised, but
But we'll wait till tomorrow and see what happens.
yeah, we'll have to watch that and see what happens. I wonder, and then to see how they caught them. I'm wondering if they had to step off a little bit off the bank. And I'm wondering if the jerk, I mean, if you look at history of the Bassmasters, the last time they were there, that freaking jerkbait was in everybody's hand for the top anglers, that and the Senko.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd like to see how they ended up catching them today.
It's gonna be a cool story, man. I'm
Hmm.
sad that I'm not gonna be able to make it, but I'll catch the video later.
Yep,
All right,
we'll
buddy.
have to do
Thank you
that.
so much for joining us. Stick around, because I want to talk to you about if you find a place to stay.
Yeah,
For those out there listening, thank you for watching, joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Bass Kayak and Beers YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and you can listen to our podcast live shows every Thursday with me. It's called The Real Life and a special guest, and every Wednesday morning we have the Advanced Kayak Angler with Kurt Smith. That's a pre-recorded episode. You can watch it on YouTube or you can listen on your favorite MP3 platform. So thank you for watching, joining, and listening, and have a great day, everyone. If you're going to be on the water, please wear your PFDs. Peace.
appreciate it, guys.